Hi, this is Kurt with the Kuhl Odyssey, coming to you today from the living room of our Seneca 36FK. Here at my cabin up in Forest Lakes and doing a few RV projects. And the project today has to do with water conservation. Since one of my favorite ways to camp is boondocking, I'm always concerned about ways to save water and prolong my stay out in the wilderness. So something that's been a concern of mine for a long time is showering and doing dishes and wanting to use hot water. As everyone knows who has an RV, when you turn on the shower or the sink, you waste quite a bit of water waiting for the hot water to reach the actual shower head or the kitchen sink. A lot of people, myself included, capture that water in a bucket or in a tub and use it for things such as washing dishes or flushing the toilet. But I had an idea, something that I'd like to do. And I'm going to try recirculating the hot water in order to save water. So what I'm talking about here is I'm going to install a solenoid, a 12-volt electric solenoid, at the furthest point of my hot water system, which is the sink in the kitchen. My plan is to install this 12-volt solenoid along with a rocker switch that I had a custom paddle made for that says hot recirculation on it. And the idea is that I'm going to go to the furthest point of the hot water, which as I said is the kitchen sink, and I'm going to install a T in the line, and then I'm going to run a line all the way back under the RV with, got this roll of 1/2-inch PEX tubing that I'm going to use, and I'm going to route that conduit all the way back to my fresh water tank and tie into one of the overflow lines that come out of the tank. So the idea is going to be that when I want to take a shower or I want to use hot water at the sink, I will go over, hit the hot water recirculating switch. It'll open this 12-volt solenoid, which will then allow the water pump to kick on, and water will start flowing from the T all the way back and going back into the fresh water tank. And eventually that hot water will reach all the way to the kitchen sink, and I wouldn't have wasted any water. It'll all be going right back into my fresh tank. So once I let it run for, my guess is going to be 30 to 45 seconds, then I will turn off the switch and then use the shower or the sink as usual, and I should have hot water right on demand without having a lot of water wasted and going down the drain. So I'll try to videotape some of the process of what it's going to take for me to do this. Obviously it'll be different in every RV, whether you're able to get to the furthest point or whether you just want to install the T at your shower. I'm choosing to try to install it at the furthest point and run it back. I believe I have good access to run the water line back to the tank. We'll see how it goes. The project's basically going to take this 12-volt solenoid, the switch I purchased, and then various fittings, some T's, and adapters to hook onto the solenoid. And we're going to install this underneath the kitchen sink, run our line back to the back, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here is the kitchen area of the Seneca. As you can see, here is the sink. So my plan for this water recirculating system is to go right down here in this area. My switch I plan to install right here alongside these other switches, and then I happen to have very good access to all my water lines just by simply removing this. And then inside you can see I have the hot and cold lines right there coming off of my sink. So the plan is going to be to install the T in whichever one of these lines is the hot water lines. I will install the T. This is my drinking water system here. So I will get those where the T will go, and then I have access to go down below my basement to run the line back to the water tank. So I'll try to kind of show how I route it, but this is generally where the majority of the work is going to be done. Okay, so we're here on the outside of the RV, and my kitchen sink is actually right here, just behind that window on the inside, just before the door. And so this storage bin is just below my sink. So I removed a panel, which I'll show a little photo of the panel that I removed. And as you can see, that gives me access down here to my plumbing line. Will come down from right up that direction, run this way, And there's actually a passage that goes all the way through the basement of the RV. I'm going to test my luck because I actually have to go all the way this way, all the way back. And here is the bin where my fresh water tank is. So as you can see there's my fresh water tank. I also removed one panel here, which I will show a little picture of that as well. And the water line's actually going to have to come in up over the top of the tank. The chase comes through back there pretty far back. So I'm gonna see how it goes. But basically, these three lines here are the overflow lines for when you fill the tank. And as you can see, I've already tied in to one of those overflow lines, and I've installed a pump here and a little hose, and that's basically a way for me to pump fresh water into my tank directly, because this RV does not have a gravity fill or any way to get water into the tank other than through the city water connection. So I installed this pump in order to be able to pull water out of a water container, and I've used that quite a few times and it's been great. And as you'll see there on the front of the pump, that large brass fitting, that is actually a backflow preventer. So that means no water can run back out through the pump, can only go one direction. So my plan is to put a T into that line and run my PEX all the way back up to the sink, and that will be how my hot water is fed back in to my fresh water tank. Okay, so I said a minute ago I'm going to press my luck and see if I can get the conduit all the way from the front of the RV to the back, just having the first access hole and the second access here. I'm going to pull something out of my bag of tricks from my electrician days. These, what you see here, are basically fiberglass rods. We just call them fishing rods. They're really flexible, and I've actually had them sitting out in the sun so they actually glow in the dark as well. And the idea is you take these semi-rigid poles, start at the end, and try pushing them through and add on additional poles as needed. And I'm going to see if I can get that all the way back here to this access point, which will save me a lot of trouble trying to find other ways to access the chase in between. Not sure if it's going to be successful, but I'm going to give it a try. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, that was a miserable job. But as you'll see, here is my fiberglass rod heading into the bin. I was not able to make it all the way across without digging further into the RV. So as you'll see here, I had to open up and take apart this bin to get through. I could not open up the part above the wheel, which was very difficult. I had to open up the bin above my propane tank. So as you'll see here, there is a tank here. That's my black tank. That created a bit of a problem. The passage is extremely tight. You might be able to see my fiberglass rod coming through there. Right down there, goes up. Those are my basement heaters that I have in here. And then we get back to the water bay, and that is an extremely tight passage up there as well, but here is my fiberglass rod. So I'm going to not only pull my water line in there, I'm going to go ahead and pull in a pull rope just in case there's any time I ever need to do that again. I really don't want to go through that again. But there we go. So I have the fishing rods in, and I'll let you know how it goes with the pipe. Okay, so next step completed. That was, again, way more difficult than I thought. Had to pull out all my electrician tricks to get this in here. You'll notice that bottle of dish soap that I put on the leading edge of the pipe where it was wrapped around the string to give it room to get past everything. And there you see the conduit going past. And we come over to this side. You'll see the conduit down there swooping underneath, heading into the back. And then here is the conduit all the way in the back. So now I can work on getting fittings put together, getting this thing tied in, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so here we are in the back. You'll see there's my T where I'm tied in to the return back to the hot water tank, to the fresh water tank, excuse me. Still hooked up with my pump, and you'll see there's that extra string that I put in there in case I ever need to get anything back here again. One thing I am going to have to do is you'll notice that that fitting, I just have a band clamp right now on the piece of PEX, and that needs to have a compression fitting. So I'm going to have to borrow a compression fitting tool for the PEX to make that one final connection. Then we'll run over here to the front and show you how it looks inside. Okay, so here we are back inside the RV looking in my plumbing access door. And you'll see there is the solenoid teed into the hot water pipe. And then right here, it's my switch, which I can actually switch it on. Okay, so it actually lights up. And then right now that fitting valve just turned on and there's water flowing right now back to the fresh water tank. So I'm going to run a couple of tests, see how things work, and I'll get right back to you. So I'm back here at the table where I started. Project is complete. Total time to do the project was about 3 hours. I will say that running the line back to the fresh water tank was a lot more difficult than I anticipated, but the pathway worked well, and I did run a string, so if I ever need to run anything else from the front to the back, that gives me a good way to pull something through there. I tested out the system. If I turn on the switch, I ran it for 45 seconds. First I tested the sink at the kitchen. As soon as I turned on the hot water was there. Went to the shower, which I was concerned may not work as well because it's teed off of the hot water about 4 feet. But I turned on the shower and I had hot water right away there as well. So looks like that will definitely save me some water while boondocking. System seems to be working great. Down in the video description, I will put a link to the solenoid valve that I used and the website where I purchased the switch with the custom-made logo on the front that says hot water recirculation. The rest of the products are just shark bite type PEX and copper fittings that you can pick up at any local hardware store. So I think that's going to conclude it for this project. While I'm here with the garage and tools, I'm going to take care of a few other things around the RV and the Jeep. Until next time, this is Kurt with the Kuhl Odyssey. Appreciate you guys giving us a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe as well. We'll have more content coming soon. Thanks for watching.